everybody, this is Steve with Smitty's Fly Box. Today we're tying a Scud. So I have a Daiichi Scud hook, 1120 in the vise, and I'm just using 8/0 uni thread. We're going to tie it in an olive color today. So I'll just attach my thread just over the top away from me and just building a nice even thread base as I tie down that tag end of thread. Now I can trim off the excess. Alright, now my thread should be somewhere in the middle part of the hook. And the first thing I'm going to do is tie on a tail. There's lots of materials you can use for a tail. I'm just going to use this hackle feather here. And you can see I've already used some of it, but you just hold it by the tip and brush down some of those barbs. And you can get yourself a nice little clump that we'll use for the tail. Now these are fairly long. We want a short tail, so I would measure the length of the tail to be about half the length of the hook shank. And once I have that measurement, I can trim it off. But I'm not going to trim it off right there. I'm going to come forward just a little hair there so I have enough to tie in. Alright, to tie in, let's just hold those butts right there against the hook on an angle. And as I bring my thread around slowly, they'll tend to roll right up on top. And I'll just keep a hold with my left hand to keep those positioned right on top of the hook as I wrap down around the bend of the hook. Now it'll create a nice little tail sticking out the bottom. Alright, let's return our thread back to the midpoint. Be careful the point of the hook there, that will snap your thread. So I'm going to tie in what's called thin skin. We're going to use this for the back. This is just a plastic product with a paper back, so we'll just remove the paper. And I've trimmed myself a piece that's about twice the length of the hook, and the width is about twice a little bit wider than the eye of the hook. And once I trim that paper, it'll curve upwards. So I want to tie this in so it is curved upwards. So carefully hold that there against the hook. And like we did with the hackle, we'll just keep a hold of it as we tie it down around the bend to try to keep it positioned on top like that. And now we'll come back to the midpoint. You can use just regular like plastic bag, and that works really well actually. Now we're going to tie in our ribbing, which is just silver wire. So I'll just hold it along the side of the hook and tie down that wire all the way back again to the base of our tail. And that's where we'll begin building the body of the fly, which is dubbing. So I just have some Wapsi Scud dubbing. It's a little coarser than, say, dry fly dubbing. And I don't need a lot, but I'm going to get myself a little clump there, and you can lay it right on top of the thread. And then with my middle finger and my thumb, I can start at the top and begin spinning those fibers around the thread. And I'm going to coat a couple inches there. What I'm trying to do, and I left some a little bit loose because we're going to pick it out a little later, but I'm just trying to build a nice even body as I work my way around the hook. So that looks a little messy, but I'm okay with that because we'll brush that out. And I like the midsection to be a little bit thicker, maybe the thickest part. The tendency with this fly though is people put too much dubbing, and then it's too gobby, but we're just trying to coat a little section around. It's a good time to reposition your hook so your thread doesn't slip off the eye. First thing we'll do is we'll take this thin skin and try to lay it down along the top and position it. Then I can take my thread and drop it over about 3 or 4 times, and that'll tie down that thin skin. Hold it straight up in the air, and we can clip that off. And we can begin now with the wire, building a segmentation over the top away, just creating a nice even segmentation all the way around up the eye, up the hook shank. Hold that straight up in the air and drop our thread over with my left hand about 3 times, and that will tie in that wire. We can pop that off. Okay, now we'll whip finish real quick. Now what we'll do is we'll just brush out some of that dubbing, just brush it down. Let's just take our scissors here and just come straight across, even with the hook, and it gives it that freshwater shrimp look. We'll hit that with some head cement, and we're ready to fish.